Hello, guys. It is Thursday, and if you watched my Insta stories today, Miss Candy came. She comes every other week and helps like scrub my house because I have three boys who are all well. The twins are potty trained, but Joe's still working on it. So like you can imagine the smells of the bathroom. As well as we have four kids and we're crazy busy, and sometimes scrubbing showers and toilets are just hard to do just by keeping up with day-to-day life. So Miss Candy comes every other week and she helps like scrub my house, and during that time I wash, like while she's doing that I like continue like loads of all five of our beds, and so that takes a while to do. But it helps the house smelling clean with four kids who are just gross. And so that's been my day. As well as I've been working on the next mastermind retreat this morning, and so kind of like filling in all the details and locations and the dates, times, everything that I'm including, and all of the coaching calls and all of the one-on-one sessions and all the courses that I'm offering to the mastermind attendees. So anyways, it's just been like a really crazy day, and I wanted to teach today. And so I go live in the photography one-on-one course. I go live in the mini session course, Facebook group community, and then I go live in our mastermind group. And so I wanted to teach today, and I do a lot of Q&A and coaching in there, but in here I wanted to teach you guys something. So that's whenever I put the poll, what do you want to learn, editing style and focus. Everybody was like, focus, like by a million, and I get it. Like, I totally get it. So that's what I'm going to teach about today. And if you have any questions at all, ask them in the chat. I'm here for it. And I freaking love questions. If you're new to the group, I am a retired school teacher. So like, I would always tell like my students, like, ask questions. No question's a stupid question. Like, I'll ask all the questions. Like, that's literally why I'm here. Anyways, so welcome. If you're new, I know I have another tab open because I feel like we've had like a crap ton of new members join the group just in like the last minute or two. So if you're new, welcome. This group was basically just created for new photographers so that I can teach all things, teach everything that I know, and just help you get off the struggle bus. I wanted to create a community where people are friendly and nice to each other and edify each other, lift each other up, because we're all going through the same stuff. We're all going through struggles. We all screw up in our photo sessions. We just really need a space to get help. And so that's what this community is for. So if you're new, welcome. And we're going to just dive right into it. I wanted to teach you guys my 5 favorite focus tips that don't fail me. And when I learned them, one of these I learned literally like a year and a half ago. I didn't even know it was a function on my camera, and I'm like, I cannot believe I've been calling myself a high-end wedding photographer for this long, and I just learned this camera setting. So I'm going to be teaching that camera setting to you today. You'll be like light years ahead of where I was when I first started, so I'm excited for you. And let me just tell you this. I'm so glad you're here, because focus and nailing focus is the most important thing you need to be able to master as a photographer. It's over exposure, it's over white balance, it's over editing, it's over all of it. Like, focus is the most important thing you have to get right, because if you don't have a photo in focus, it's trashed. There's no fixing it. There's no amount of Photoshop and Lightroom you can do to it. If you miss focus, the picture's dead. It's like it never happened, because you cannot deliver an out of focus image. Now, have I delivered soft images where it's like, man, I can't count the eyelashes, but when I zoom out, it looks normal? Of course. But if you miss focus, meaning if I'm the picture and you focus on the doorknob and you're at a low aperture, I'm going to be blurry. You can't deliver that picture. So focus is the #1 thing you have to master. And after this video, I'm hoping you can walk away with some tangible tips and tricks and camera settings that can help you do that. I literally dedicated an entire module just about focus in the Photography 101 course because it's that important. There's a module on manual mode, and the very next one is focus, because I want you to get it. I want you to nail it, because if you miss it, it's dead. You can't use it. So with that said, let's talk about just 5 of my top favorites. There's many, many more, but let's just talk about my 5 favorite. Okay, the very first one, and I hope you have your notebook, and if you have your camera out, get it out. The very first setting I want you to switch whenever you're in a session is your autofocus setting. Now, what in the crap is that? Okay, if you're Nikon, you are going to notice if you click the AF button on the side of your camera. Let me get my camera. Sorry, I'm sure y'all just like saw my butt and everything. It's fine. Okay. If you look on the side of your camera, you're gonna see this little button. I have a full frame. This is the 850. A full frame, but you should see it on your crop frame if you have a crop frame. If not, get your manual out or Google it. But you should see an AF button. You're gonna hold that down. And on the top of your screen, you're gonna see AF, which means autofocus, S, AFC, or you might see AFA. What does that mean? Okay, AFS means autofocus single shot, which means if your person, your subject is still, you want to put it on AFS, and you're gonna get the maximum amount of focus on your still subject, okay? Now, if you're like me, and even when I shoot portraits, so here's like a posing tip for free. Whenever you're shooting, let's just say you're shooting a senior session, okay? That's a portrait. Even when I pose my seniors, I still have them move a little bit, because that's going to create an authentic portrait, an authentic picture, okay? So whenever I have them, you know, hold their hand like this, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have you play with your hair and laugh at me. This is them. I don't ever have them say this, because that's stupid. You want an authentic looking picture. Mom wants their baby girl's real laughter, their real smile. And so the posing tip, this is free info, is to always have your subject moving. Now do it again. Now do it again. So if this is the picture, you're gonna have them do it multiple times, which means to simplify my life, I keep my autofocus setting on AFC, which means autofocus continuous, which means my camera is going to help me out. And with my focal, wherever my focal point is, my camera is going to try to help me with that focus, so I nail the focus when my subject is continuously moving. Okay, that is my like #1 tip to help you nail focus. If you are Canon, these are called one shot, which means your subject is still. That's the setting you want, one shot. AI servo, it's not Al servo, it's AI servo, means continuous. That's Canon's language for when your subject is moving, okay? So the first thing, and I just posted a blog about this the other day, what do you want to ask yourself before you start doing your manual modes and stuff like that? This is one of the questions you have to ask yourself. Is my subject still? Which for me, that's if I shoot real estate, if I shoot bridal details, if I shoot landscape. Is my subject still? Yes, I'm going to put it on AFS for Nikon or one shot for Canon. Okay? Ask myself, is my subject moving or still? If my subject is moving, which means that's everything from portraits, seniors, weddings, brides, couples, because no matter how I'm posing, I'm having them move. Even when I have my couples look at the camera and smile and they're holding, I'll have them, can you sway just a little bit? Good. And then they're moving and it's that authentic laughter and he tickles and they're still smiling at the camera, but I always have my subjects moving. And so I keep my autofocus camera setting on AFC for continuous, and if you're Canon, it's called AI Servo. So write that down. If you can't find your button or you're not sure, I don't know every single camera that was ever created under God's green earth. So you might have to Google, like, where is my autofocus my autofocus button, and then adjust your settings accordingly. Like I said, for me, I just leave mine on AFC. If you're a portrait photographer and you have a lot of movement, leave it on AFC. That will be a game changer in your portraits. Okay. So, okay, making sure there's no questions before I move on to my second favorite focus setting. Would I be allowed to email you a few of my raw photos? Yes. So she's asking about my preset. Would I be able to, yes, you can email me your raw photos and I'll apply my preset so you can see like what it does. And I'm going to be talking about editing in just a second. So, okay, second focus tip, and then I'll go through all the questions at the very end. How about that? Second focus tip is you want to make sure your camera setting is on single point focus. Now, what is that and why do I need it? Okay, if you're just now trying to figure out manual mode and you're learning about manual mode and you're just figuring out your light and lighting and all the things, there's a lot going on. And you look through your viewfinder and you see like a group of dots and you're trying to focus on one thing. Let's just say you're focusing on my face and you want everything else to be blurry, okay? But you see a bunch of focus points, a bunch of dots in your screen when you look through the viewfinder. That means you're not on single point focus, you're maybe on group focus. Now, we want to change our setting to single point focus, which means when you look through the viewfinder, you're going to see one dot, or it might be like a square. Mine in my, it's one little square. And the way you change this setting is you go to the autofocus button again, you look down, and you're going to, if you have a full frame camera, you're going to move your aperture dial up here. If you have a crop frame, I'm not quite sure. You might have to Google it or look in your manual to figure out how to change this setting. But for full frame Nikon camera bodies, this is what you do. You click the AF button, hold it down, and you are going to move. Let's see if I can, oh, this is so weird, backwards. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. Y'all, I'm like struggling. Okay. Can you see it? Okay, there's group. I literally cannot see. That's S. Yeah, okay. If you can tell that that says S, that means it's on single point. That was really difficult. Okay, so what that does is when you look through your viewfinder, when you have it on the single point focus and you look through your viewfinder, you're now able to move your arrows left and right and move the toggle. It's called toggling, when you get to move your focus point exactly where you want it. So let's say I just got engaged and I'm like, look at my ring. and you want to do this cute little thing where you focus on the ring and the bride and groom are looking at each other. You can move your focus point down and over until it sits right here, and the ring will be in focus and they will not. If you're in group focus or auto focus or any of the other focus settings, your camera is thinking for you, which is always really scary. So you don't want your camera to think for you. You have your own brain. You as the artist know what you want your picture to look like. So you want to make sure that your autofocus setting is on A, or not AF, it's on S for single point, okay? Because you don't want a big grouping, you just want a single. And this is especially perfect for portraits. And one other little focus tip is you always want to focus on the eyes. Don't focus on the nose, the mouth, the ears, the eyes, because as our brains think as humans, we want to have, the first thing we look at when we look at a picture is their eyes. So that's another free little tip for you. Okay, so the first thing we did was we put our autofocus setting on AFC if our subjects are moving, or AFS if they're just still. Then we're going to change our camera setting to single point focus, which means we just want one dot while we look through the viewfinder, and we can move that dot with our arrows right here. Move it to the left, move it to the right, move it up, move it down. We're going to move that dot where we want to place it. That's called toggling. Okay? Now, the other three camera settings have everything to do with aperture, ISO, and shutter speed. And again, I have an entire module dedicated to my simple system on aperture, ISO, and shutter speed, and I go in depth, like in depth, to what each of these settings can do for your pictures. But for the purposes of focus, here are my tips with aperture, ISO, and shutter speed to make sure you nail focus. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is aperture. And the easiest way you can think of this is the higher your aperture number, the deeper your focus will go. So if I'm at aperture f1.8 and you focus on my eye, the focus depth will probably be from my eye to my hair. Okay, it's going to be very, very short depth of focus. Now let's just say you're taking a picture of my face and you put it on f4.0 and you focus on my eye. What's going to be in focus is my eye and probably to the back of my head over here. Now, if you put your aperture on f11, and you focus on my eye, what's going to be in focus is my eye, my nose, my hands, and everything behind me, because that focus depth is deeper the higher your aperture number will go. So if we know that to be true, my biggest tip for you is whenever you're shooting portraits, don't go below f2. That'll give you some wiggle room, especially around the face. Let's just say you accidentally missed focus and you focused on the nose instead of the eye. You'll still have the eye and the ear in focus if you're at 2.8. When if you're at 1.8 and you accidentally focus on the nose, especially my big nose, then you might have blurry eyes. That makes sense. Give me some hearts if like you're with me. So a simple rule is don't go below 2.8 to make sure that you can have a solid focus when you're taking portraits of people. Okay? All right. Hope that makes sense. Y'all let me know. I'm not going to look at the comments at the very, very end. Just send me some hearts and some thumbs ups or whatever. Okay. So the second thing, oh, thanks guys. I see your hearts. Okay. That makes me know that I'm not just talking to myself. Okay. So we talked about AFC. We talked about single point focus. We talked about aperture and what to do and not to go below 2.8. The fourth thing we want to talk about is ISO. Now, I have been told ISO has nothing to do with focus. It has everything to do with exposure and blah, 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 which that's accurate. But here's the thing. When you up your ISO all the way up to, let's just say 6,400, what's happening is the higher you go, the less of the quality and sharpness and crispness of the picture you will have. So this past wedding I shot on Friday, I can post the blog here for you guys if you want to see the whole thing, but I was in a Catholic church and they told me no flash photography, don't do flash photography. So I'm like, okay, I'm in a very dark church. What I'm going to have to do is up my ISO to 6,400, which, ouch. But hey, that was my choice. That was my only option. When I look at the photos, they're all super soft. Most people would say, if you zoomed in, these are out of focus. But the problem is the quality of the image was just tainted a little bit because my ISO was super high. If I could have shot at ISO 1600, which is like my sweet spot, not to go above, my picture, and I would have added a flash, my pictures would have been crisp and sharp. But unfortunately, I wasn't given the option of that. I had to shoot at 6,400, and the higher you go up, the softer your images will be. So if you can help it, if you have a choice in your camera settings, my ISO focus tip is to never go above 1600. Now, we can argue that some full frame cameras and other Canon's better and Nikon's better and all the things and low light capabilities and all the thing. I'm just telling you my experience and what's true for me. The higher you go up, that quality, that crispness, that sharpness is going to be sacrificed in order to get a correctly exposed image. So does the bride love her images? 1000%. She has been texting me like every single day since her wedding day because she loves them so much. So she still loves them. The photographer in me wishes they could have been crispier and sharper, but it is what it is. So just remember, aperture rule, don't go below 2.8. ISO rule, try to stay as low as you can. In the course, I teach how low can you go when we talk about ISO. And that's the name of the game when we talk about ISO meets focus. Okay, the very last focus tip I have for you, and I might give you a bonus tip because I love you. The very last focus tip I have for you is all about shutter speed. Okay, we know that shutter speed is how fast your shutter curtain opens and closes. And whatever is happening when it opens is the picture, right? Okay, so my simple rule for myself, because photography is complex and I ain't having it. So the simple rule that I give to myself for shutter speed is to never, ever, under any circumstances, go below 1/250th of a second. Why? Because the lower your shutter speed, the slower that it goes, the more chances it's going to catch movement and blur. And that's bad when you're trying to nail focus. So I get asked all the time, will having a super fast shutter speed affect the picture? No, it's going to do wonders for the picture if you're trying to like grab that moment. Like having a faster shutter speed has no bad effects to the picture. You want to go as fast as you can, really, to capture that moment, that moment right there. The bad thing is when you have a low shutter speed and it's going slow and you're not grabbing that moment, and you might get that soft, out of focus image. Now, putting your focus setting on AFC will 100% help. It will 100% help your movement with your images. So just to keep things simple, I'm not going to go into all the tech stuff, all like the shutter speed, double the focal length, blah, 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 blah. Just know this. Keep yourself simple and know this rule for yourself. Don't go below 2/50th of a second. If you absolutely have to, I would rather up my ISO 1 or 2 notches to get more light into that sensor to have a correctly exposed image than to lower my shutter speed below 1/250th of a second. That's just me. That's just me. I would rather a tiny bit of grain and tiny bit of image quality, like I could probably fix in Lightroom post-processing, than have a completely out of focus image because I accidentally caught motion blur with a very low shutter speed. And for my bonus tip, this is just a bonus tip. Wasn't including this, but it is what it is because I love you guys. Bonus tip, if you do all 5 of these things and you know, by golly, I know my focus point was on that eye. Why is my picture out of focus and behind? Like, I know I had my autofocus setting at AFC. I know my focus point was at the eye. All of my manual mode settings were fine. Why is my image out of focus, or why is my focus missed? Like, why is it that the wall is in focus and the senior in front is out of focus? You might need to calibrate your lens. And what this does is whenever we're moving and we put our cameras in our bags and we're traveling or we're shooting a lot and we're handling, sometimes our focus stuff in our lens gets moved around a little bit, wear and tear, and you need to bring it to an auto body shop to get it calibrated. And it happens all the time. I bring my camera and lenses to a guy named Chris Bruyette. He lives in Lafayette, Louisiana, and he is the cleaner calibrator guru of photography land. I 1000% recommend him. I've been going to him for years, and he is the coolest, funniest guy ever. I drop off all of my lenses and my camera to him. And here's another like tidbit, which a lot of photographers don't know. You have to calibrate your specific lenses to the mothership, to your camera body, to get the most amazingness, sharpness photo possible. Now, I have had cameras where I've bought them and added new lenses to them and they were fine. But learning from Chris, and he is kind of like the brain surgeon of lenses and cameras, he taught me that. He's like, look, if you ever get a new body, make sure you bring me your lenses so I can calibrate them to your specific body. It's so important for focus. And y'all, since I've been doing that, I'm telling you my images have gotten better. Like, it's just science. Like, you bring your car to get, oil change and a tune-up, and it runs better. It's machines. That's all a camera is, and we have to take care of it and get it now and then. So if you're not in Louisiana, check your local people and see if anyone does cleaning and calibrating. I teach in the photography course how I clean my gear from session to session to session, and how I send him all of his contact info is in the photography course. So that is just something that you need to keep in mind. If you've done all the things and you're still not getting those sharp images, it might not be you. It might be your lens. So definitely check that out and get back to me and let me know. So if you're still here, I hope all this information helped. I wanted to give you guys a code, a discount code, because I know some of you who saw the email, that's why you're here, to the Photography 101 course, which you guys is freaking life-changing. Like, I don't leave anything out. It's all laid out for you, step by step by step by step by step by step by step. You have a photography one-on-one guide that you can print out and highlight and circle and make notes, and it's everything's there, organized, modules by lessons. You can make tabs. A lot of the course students have binders for all of their guides that I provide in these courses. So if you want 30% off of this course, the code is BB30. BB for Brittany Bruce, BB30. BB30. You'll get 30% off. And here's the cool part that I do that not a lot of people do. I have 3 and 6 month payment plans. Because y'all, I know the struggle bus of finances. I get it. And having to pay like 70 bucks a month instead of $400 right off the bat helps a ton, especially when you're trying to feed 4 kids. I get it. I'm there with you. I'm on the bus. I drive the bus. So just know that I get it. And so that's why we offer 3 and 6 month payment plans for you, just to help you out. And so anyways, if you saw the student spotlight today, Dee Womack, she did the course in December in like a weekend because she was hungry and she was ready to take better photos. She's a working mom. She didn't have time to YouTube and Google it herself. So she took the course, did the payment plan, did the money, and now she's like booking like crazy because people see her freaking awesome work. So it's there for you. You can literally start it today. And another perk is that you have access to me every single week. I pop in. I'm going to be there live today answering questions. So if you're in a module and you're like, I just don't quite understand this concept or this one little part, like what, like I need Brittany. You have access to me all year long, once a week, every week. I do this in the course groups. So that's all I have for you today. I hope these focus tips and tricks like totally transform your work and kind of like make sense in your head and get you unstuck. And let me go back and see if I have any questions. Y'all, my foot is asleep and it's been asleep for like 5 minutes. I've been trying to just like hold back my tears. Okay, so Nikki asked for my preset if she could email me. You can totally email me your raws. My email is BrittanyBrucePhotography@gmail.com, and super professional, right? BrittanyBrucePhotography@gmail.com. You can email me your raw images and I will put my preset on there. Every now and then I will do a video of me editing your photos with my preset and I'll post it in the group just so y'all can like see how and how I edit. If I have time, I do that. If not, I'll just put my preset on and tell you what I did. Where are your vlogs? So I have a ton of videos on YouTube. Just search Brittany Bruce Education, and they're all there. And also my blog has a ton of resources, just like kind of like what I explained today. If you're more of like a visual person, you need to see words, links, and things like that. That's on the blog. YouTube is just me teaching like this. So yes, YouTube, and the blog is at BrittanyBrucePhotography.com. Okay, what's the best way to focus on toddlers that won't sit still? AFC or AI Servo. Make sure it's on that camera setting. You have to check and make sure before I shoot anything. I say, are they moving or are they still? 9 out of 10 times they're moving, so I leave it on AFC. That will help, as well as a very, very fast shutter speed. You might have to sacrifice photo quality, which means you have to up your ISO pretty high to get that light hitting the sensor because you need a freaking fast shutter speed with those toddlers. So that's my 2 biggest pieces of advice. Super high shutter speed, as well as making sure your autofocus mode is on AFC. Cool. I can't wait to watch you do posing in real life in the March at the mastermind. I feel like you get the best natural smiles. Okay, so that is going to be super fun to do at the retreat. So Ashley's talking about the retreat in March. If you're totally new to this community, to me in general, I offer 2 things: courses and now masterminds. So masterminds are my step-by-step courses that are included, as well as an in-person retreat. January, we spent 3 days in Destin. In March, we're going to spend another 3 days in Destin with a whole new group of photographers. And that's where lives are changed. Like, that's where you come back and you are so freaking confident and ready to take on the world with your photography business. It's not even funny. Like, I can't tell you how important it is to get out of the house, away from your computer, it with some other photographers who know what you're going through, with a mentor and 3 other mentors who will be there too to pour into you. Cannot tell you how important it is. I've done it myself, and now I'm doing it for other people, and y'all, like, it's freaking life-changing. So yes, in March, I'm going to go through my posing system with brides, couples, seniors, families, and everyone. I don't do babies, but Katie is coming and newborns, and so she can film you how she poses her newborns, and so that's going to be really awesome. Okay, Alicia, I love when you teach. I love to teach so much. It's literally, if I could do, you know how when people are like, if you could do one thing for the rest of your life, what would you do? I would teach. That's it. Okay, Natalie says, how do you go about finding a person or place that does calibration of lenses in the areas we live? Good question. I found Chris just by word of mouth. Like, I know that just sounds very cheesy, but post it on Facebook. Join other photography groups if you have like local photography groups, and ask them, like, does anyone do camera lens calibration? If you have a like camera store, sometimes they offer that service. I know Chris does, like, you can mail your equipment. I know that's very scary, but if you package it like crazy, he does like take like mailed in gear, calibrates it, cleans it, does all of his voodoo magic on it, wraps it back up, and then sends it back to you. So that is an option if there's like nobody, but it's just super important. Nikon does it and Canon does it, but you know, it's not very personable. Like, it's kind of like dropping your kids off like to a stranger. Chris is a good babysitter with her babies. So I drop off all of my gear to him once a year, and I know that they're safe. And sometimes he sends me like videos of him like tucking them in at night and singing them a lullaby, because he's just funny. He's really funny. Okay. Kara says, how often do you calibrate? Once a year in July, because I refuse to shoot in July in South Louisiana. It's really hot in July. So I block off like 2 weeks in July just in case it takes them longer. And I drive to Lafayette, which is about an hour and a half away from me. I drop off my bag to him, and then he calls me whenever they're ready, and I'll go pick them up. So yep, once a year in July. If you shoot a lot, like every single day, if you're shooting like sessions like in the wild, like every single day, you might want to do it every 6 months, just because it's a lot of knocking around and things like that. So okay, Nikki says, sometimes places that sell used lenses, or even places that sell cameras used. Oh yeah, okay, so she's talking about who can calibrate lenses, and Nikki is saying like sometimes places that sell, yeah, like maybe try Best Buy, I don't know. But if there's like some local places that sell cameras and lenses, you could probably ask them about it. Okay, so Nikki, thanks so much for being amazing and taking your time to speak with us today. It makes me super excited to get into photography. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. Like, I freaking love doing this. Like I said, if I could do one thing every single day, this is what it would be. So thank you for showing up. And Kelsey, thank you. Megan, I can't wait to go from zero to hero after the retreat. Megan's coming in March. Megan, like, I can't even explain to you the kind of like transformation you're gonna have after March. I wish some January retreat attendees were on here so that you could just like tell these girls what they can expect and how amazing it's going to be. So just while we're on that like mastermind retreat talk, one of the things that I'm changing for the next mastermind group of girls, and it's something that I've been trying to figure out, but something that the January retreat girls were saying was like, gosh, I wish it was one more day. I wish we could just spend one more day with you, because we spent 3 days in Destin. We're doing 3 days again in March, but the next one, 4 days. 4 days, because I feel like 3 just wasn't enough. It really wasn't. It was just like we were just getting going. We were just like becoming best friends. We were just kind of like digging deep. Lots of crying, lots of just like light bulb, mind-blowing moments happening. So we're gonna do one more day. And so I'm pretty excited about that. Okay. Okay. Alicia, I might have butchered your name. I have an upcoming maternity shoot for friends. Do you recommend anything, or do you have any tips? Okay, so tips for her or you, bring her some water. Check in on her a lot, like, hey, how are you doing? Do you need some water? Do you want to take a break? Do you want to rest? Especially if it's like super cold or super hot. I would limit it to about 45 minutes. Posing while a baby in your belly is exhausting. So make sure you just like treat her like she's the queen and check in on her while you're shooting. I think another thing with maternity is you have to make sure that your posing is flattering, because women with big bellies, their bodies have gone through so many changes. Like y'all, I did it 3 times. Their bodies go through so many changes, and like when we don't normally have a double chin, when we're pregnant, we have a double chin. When we not normally have like bra back fat, when we're pregnant, we have bra back fat. And so I think making your maternity client still feel shapely and skinny and stuff, like the way you pose her, is going to be crucial in the way that she loves her images. And a quick posing tip with maternity is, when you're posing, you want to make sure their butt is not in the picture. Okay, so I see this all the time. Here we go. I see this all the time where they are posing, but like they see their butt like this. You want to turn them and then bring their space here. So bring their hand, they could like pick up their dress, they could hold their belly, but make sure you see, make sure you see space right here. That'll give them a waistline. And make sure that their hips, can you not see my face? Make sure their hips are either forward to you so you don't see their butt. We just need one round thing in the picture, and that's the belly. Okay? We don't need a round butt and a round belly, because it's just not flattering. So you want to make sure their either hips are faced on, obviously focus on the belly, or their hips angled and then they're turning like this. So I feel, here I come crawling back. I feel like that's just something to really, really keep in mind, is do whatever you need to do. Watch her double chin, because, for example, if she's looking at her belly like this, she's not going to like this picture. If she's looking at her belly like this, she's going to love this picture, because you don't see her double chin. This is literally the same pose, but look at the difference. Which one am I going to like more? This one or this one? So just keep those little things in mind when you're posing. Women in general, especially maternity. Okay. Lisa, how high can we go with f-stop if we're doing 3 kids or family and want a creamy background? Okay, so it all depends on how close the kids are together. So if I'm shooting 3 kids and they're on the same plane, let's just say 3 kids are standing just like this, I could shoot this at 2.8 because they're on the same plane. And remember, the way that focus works with aperture is depth. The higher your aperture, the more focus depth you'll have. If you have 3 kids and 2 of them are right here, 2 faces here and 1 in the back, you're going to have to up your aperture to maybe 4.0, okay, because of that focus depth. You need that focus depth in order to get everybody in the image. If you have their faces like this, you could shoot them at 1.8 because their eyes are on the same plane and you don't need a huge focus depth. So if you shot like a family with 3 kids, you might want to go 4.0 or 5.6, especially if they're staggered. You just have to remember about the focus depth, and that's going to be the biggest game changer of where you can put your aperture. Natalie, thank you so much, and thank you so much for always being there for all of us and offering so much education. Your true inspiration to motivate me to keep building and doing. Hope to purchase your course in the near future. Oh, Natalie, you're so welcome. I love, love, love it. And yes, I really, really hope you post. I really, really hope you join the photography course, just because I know that that's where the transformation is going to be. And at the end of the day, like, I don't teach you guys just to teach. I teach you because I want you to change. I want you to transform, and I want you to get it. And I want you to know all the things. And that's why I push the photography course, because I know and I've seen the results of what people can do after they watch the course. Okay, how long does calibration take? Depends who does it, I guess. Maybe a couple days. With Chris, it just takes a couple days. Sometimes 1 week, depending on if he's, doing anybody else's. Dee is here. She is student spotlight of the day. Dee is freaking killing it, y'all. She just started in like December and just like went head first. And like, I want her to take my family pictures. Dee, like, seriously, in the spring, I want you to take my family pictures. And Dee said y'all need the retreat. Yes, I think she was one of the last people to sign up because she was leery of coming. But she, I believe, is a believer of in-person retreats now. Okay, Christy, I'm doing my first engagement and wedding pictures for free for a friend coming up. Any tips or suggestions about the presets? But I've never used them because I don't shoot often. So you're doing engagements and wedding. Okay, so that's awesome. Posing 2 people is a lot less stressful than posing like families and kids. And so take your time, focus on just letting them be themselves and dance together, hold each other, twirl together, like hold each other, love on each other. Like, that is comfortable for 2 people in love. What's not comfortable is this. Okay, so what you can do, and something that I do a lot, is I'll get them to slow dance and just be together and slow dance and go nose to nose and forehead to forehead, and y'all almost kiss but don't kiss, and now I want y'all to both look at me and smile. So like, that's natural. And that's something that like, the posing system course is coming soon. It's going to be super affordable, and it's going to go through everything so that you don't have to think about it whenever you're posing, and you're going to get all these amazing images. But that's something that I'm definitely teaching is posing is awkward. Going and tell somebody, y'all go be cute. That's awkward. Who knows how to be cute? I don't know how to be cute. Nobody knows how to be cute. You have to tell them something to do, give them an activity to do, and you just around them and then tell them how good they're doing while they're doing their thing. So if they're slow dancing together and you're going to tell them, okay, I need you to stand right here in this open shade, beautiful light with this natural reflector. I'm going to stand back here with my, I'm not saying this, I'm just telling you what to do. Standing back with your 50 millimeter 1.8, and you're going to say to them, okay, I now want y'all to just slow dance, and y'all look at each other. Good. Oh, y'all are so beautiful. Oh, these images are so pretty. Okay, now I want you to go nose to nose. And y'all are going to do Eskimo kisses, because that is so not normal. Nobody does Eskimo kisses anymore. And they're doing Eskimo kisses. And now I'm going to have you kiss her in the forehead. Beautiful. And now you're getting closer. And so during this time, while you're coaching them and telling them what to do, you're also moving your feet, getting different compositions, different angles, getting wide shots, coming in closer. And that's all going to give you the maximum amount of different photos in the least amount of time. And that's what I teach in the mini session course. Like, that's our goal. Nobody wants to shoot for 2 hours. If you can give 100 images to somebody in 20 minutes, that is the goal on both sides. So that is my biggest tip, is get them to do things walking. We walk, my couples walk all the time. You will not see a picture on my Instagram of people that aren't walking. Like, that is just something everybody knows how to do. Hold hands. Dude, you put your hands in your pocket. You're going to grab your dress and you're going to swish your little heart out. And you're going to hold hands and you're walking. And now you're walking. You're looking at each other and you're giggling and you're laughing. And you're going and your kiss. And you're just coaching them and you're talking to them and you're praising them. And don't forget, though, those smile at the camera pictures. I think my first couple engagement sessions, I was just having so much fun. I forgot to have them look at the camera and smile. And the mom of the bride was like, do you not have a single picture of them smiling at the camera? And I was like, so that was a really good lesson learned. So in between every single activity and before you switch poses or switch activities, have them smile at the camera. And get wide shot, half shot, close-up shot of them just smiling at the camera. Quick, quick, quick. Okay, let's see. Cute dog. Is Louie in here? No, he comes and goes. Okay, thank you for being helpful. I just purchased one on course in December and have learned so much valuable information. I'm new to photography and I want to progress to a business. Thank you for this. Awesome. The business bonus module is coming like next week. So be on the lookout for that. That's really going to help you kind of like hone into your business stuff. Okay. Cool. All right. Sorry. I just got a message from Thomas. Okay. Silly question, but not silly question, but not really. I'm short. Do I need to keep a step stool with me at all times so I'm on the same level as subject, or tips on frame placement, if that makes sense? I would suggest it. So one of the mini session course students, Marissa Rubley, is about 4'11", I think. Marissa, if you're on here, let me know. And she brings a stool, just little potty stool, like one of those little stools. And she brings it with her, and it really, really helps. Why? Because shooting up to people is not flattering. That's why I'm sitting on the ground, so that my camera is coming down and it's more flattering angle than if I was teaching you like this. If I was teaching like this and you're the photographer and I'm the subject, this is the smile you're gonna get. No. So you need to be either on the same level or a little bit above. I'm 5'8", and I'm constantly on my tippy toes. I'm not as short that I need a stool, but I'm constantly on my tippy toes to get that down angle of my clients, especially on wedding days when they're in heels. So yeah, I would strongly suggest, or if you're like in the environment, find like a step you can climb on or a stump or something, as long as they're, also another quick tip, because a lot of grooms obviously are taller than me. So I have them, I'm gonna get up, you're gonna see my fuzzy slippers. I have them like stand like this. When I'm gonna do like this. I have them stand like with their feet apart, and it makes them shorter, and I get a portrait like this. Like, this is the portrait I have of them. I'm like, hey, can you spread your feet out so you can get shorter than me, so I'm not shooting up your nose. And that helps a lot. So those are just other little posing tips and tricks that will be in the course and that you'll learn as you go to, just being a shorty. Okay. If you are shooting 17-year-olds and younger, how do you do with a model release contract? Do parents have to sign? So I don't have a model release contract. I have a contract whenever they book with me, and it just simply says, like, I have, what does it say? Legally stuff that basically says, like, I have the right to post my images because they're not my images. And people who are signing up to take pictures with a photographer kind of already has in the back of their mind that their kid is going to be photographed. So I personally don't have any kind of like model release contract. I just have a simple photography contract that says I'm going to use these images for marketing purposes and social media and website and all the things. And that's it. So yeah, but if you join the legal page, PAIGE, on Facebook, she's a lawyer. She's a photographer lawyer who kind of talks all about that kind of stuff. Never had an issue with contracts and model releases. But obviously, I'm not a lawyer. Disclaimer, definitely talk to a lawyer. Okay, last question, settings for indoor. I always struggle. Any help? Thanks. Okay, another thing about the photography course is an entire lesson just about indoor light, because we're obviously always shooting inside if you have kids, if you're doing bridesmaids inside. My biggest tip for settings is to go exactly through your AI system, but not just settings. The biggest tip for indoors is light. You have to make sure your clients are facing the light source when you're inside, which is why, so if you look, there's my desk. I'm not going to do this live there because it would be terrible light. this is what it would look like. This is what your picture will look like if you place your indoor clients facing away from a window. All I'm doing is turning toward the light source, and all of a sudden I have no more wrinkles, my dark circles are going away, I have even light, it's beautiful, it looks like I'm in a ballroom of windows, but I'm just facing the window. So it's not as much camera settings as it is about light. That's the biggest tip for indoor light and indoor sessions. Okay, last question. What do you shoot with? I recently bought a Nikon 810. I am wanting to really know my camera. Do you recommend any video program to learn how to use this better? I recommend the Photography 101 course. The first and second modules are dedicated towards cameras, lenses, and camera settings. Not manual mode, camera settings. Like, what do you take off of factory settings to get the best professional looking image? Like, I go through, like menu. I go through every single one of these and I tell you what to change and what to switch. Because after about a year of shooting, I realized I had all my camera settings messed up. There were some things that I was like, I don't even know what's the thing, because I was so scared to switch factory settings. Factory settings suck. There's a lot of things you need to switch in order to make sure that you're getting the best looking image on the back of your camera. So, totally recommend the Photography 101 course to know what to do with your specific. Good for you is that I teach Nikon. I try to help the Canon people match words AFC is AI servo and blah, blah, blah. But if you're Nikon, you're set up for gold. You are golden when you take the Photography 101 course. So that's what I recommend. And thanks for hopping in with me. It has been an hour. How is that possible? 56 minutes, you guys. So I'm going to pop off here. I still have some work to do before the kiddos get home. So excited for you guys. Make sure to join the Photography 101 course, y'all. I would not be preaching about this course if I knew it wasn't the best thing you could possibly learn. The best thing you could possibly do for your business, for your photography, for your clients is this course. So you can literally go from feeling like a fraud to feeling super confident in just a couple of hours. Okay, guys. I'm gonna hop off of here, and yeah, this will be, if you're watching the replay, let me know. You can still comment, just hashtag replay and I'll be able to see it, and I will see some of you in the course live. So love you guys. I'll talk to you soon, and keep shooting.